Joining us now from Rochester, New York, Democratic Congressman Joe Morelle. Congressman, you just heard Chairman Crawford. He sounds confident that the administration is operating within its authority, carrying out these strikes, and that Congress is being kept abreast, including Democratic members, and also says the administration would come to Congress if these operations move to land-based targets. What's your response?
Well, look, I have great respect for Chairman Crawford, but I feel bad for him having to defend the actions of what I consider the most immoral, corrupt administration in American history has got to be tough. Look, if members of Congress have been briefed, I haven't been included, and I serve on the Appropriations Subcommittee for Defense. So I would love to be briefed and understand exactly what's going on. And I suspect most Americans have no idea what the threat is that's posed by the Venezuelans or why the United States would position 15,000 military personnel off the coast of Venezuela. So I would like to know that. I would think that the president would want to not only share it with members of Congress, but the American public. If there's an imminent threat to our safety and our national security, we ought to know about it. And what's clear is the arguments that the president continues to make about this keep shifting and changing. So, yes, I've heard them say that it was drugs, although, as you just said in the previous segment, fentanyl, the constituent chemicals that make fentanyl aren't produced in Venezuela. They're not assembled in Venezuela. So it would be, I think, important for the president to put the evidence before Congress and ultimately to the American people and see whether or not there's a consensus that this is really helping our national security interest. I have no evidence that that's the case. We'll find out.
Okay, I want to ask you about something else he said, which is he cast doubt on the reporting that there's going to be an Epstein file release vote on Tuesday or very soon. He indicated maybe that wouldn't take place. Is it possible that this discharge petition will not really be coming to the floor, or if it does, it won't pass? It seems like it has the votes. What do you think?
Well, look, in the new House of Representatives under this majority, anything's possible. We just went 5 weeks without having a single day of session or votes by the House to head off what we believe is the vote to release the Epstein files. But 218 members of the House have signed a discharge petition. Under our rules, that means a vote is forthcoming. And I think Speaker Johnson has said repeatedly that he expects there will be a vote this week. So I don't know what Chairman Crawford is talking about, but I will say this. The rules require it, but I don't think House Republicans have cared very much about the rules over the last several weeks or several months. But I expect it will pass, and I expect it will pass overwhelmingly with dozens and dozens of Republicans voting for this bill.
Okay, now, Democrats have definitely been having a field day with this Epstein story. But Republicans, of course, are quick to observe that the files the president's critics are so loudly clamoring for were in the hands of the Biden administration for 4 years. I understand the legitimate interest by many here. But answer that. Why didn't Democrats demand the release of these files during the Biden years?
Well, look, I don't know that that's the right question. I think the question is, why are we resistant to having the files released? We have them. Even President Trump talked about during the 4 years he was out of office how on day one he was going to release the Epstein files. Pam Bondi said she was going to release them. Kash Patel, the director of the FBI. Then they said there weren't any files at all. Clearly, there's 20,000 emails and apparently treasure trove of additional information. So I'm not sure why people get into these. Why didn't it happen before? It's right in front of us now. The question is before us. It's the right thing to do. We should just do it. And frankly, if the president, who has maintained his innocence, is so convinced there's nothing in there that's damning, why isn't he releasing them? I think after a while, people are starting to wonder. And frankly, this is, in a sense, a distraction, but it's of Donald Trump's choosing. He can release it. Pam Bondi will do whatever he tells her to do. She's obviously demonstrated no independence during her tenure as Attorney General. So she'll do it. All he has to do is say, let's do it. But if not, it's going to be incumbent upon the House. And then I hope Senate majority will put this on the bill and then it'll send it to the president's desk for his action.
All right, you mentioned your big job on the Appropriations Committee. You voted against the continuing resolution to reopen the government last week because you said it did not do enough on health care, health insurance. You got 2 months to work out a deal to prevent another shutdown. What's going to happen? What do you see happening?
Well, I don't know. We've only passed 3 of the required 12 bills for a long-term spending plan. I think the focus ought to be on that, and it needs to be on the premiums that are going to skyrocket. People are already in the open enrollment period. People are already seeing the massive increases being proposed in health insurance premiums. We've got to focus on it. I don't understand why members of Congress in the majority are resistant to having a conversation about how to make sure health insurance is affordable for working Americans. And it really bogs my mind to understand what's going on. We should have, and by the way, this big fight was over a short-term Band-Aid that only gets us to January, but Republicans are continuing to refuse to promise to bring to the floor a bill which would extend subsidies that have allowed us to get to a point in America where we have the lowest uninsured rate in American history, and that's because of the Affordable Care Act. So let's continue the subsidies. Let's try to make health insurance more affordable, and let's get on a long-term spending bill that will go to September 30th of next year.
But the insurance, there are a lot more people covered, but the premium increases are through the roof, and Obamacare premiums are rising faster than other kinds of health insurance. It seems like there may be some structural flaws in a program that was promised to bring costs down. Are you open at this moment to any sort of structural changes or large changes to Obamacare as an entity, or do you view it as sacrosanct at this point?
I mean, I don't view anything as sacrosanct. I think what people are sort of confusing is the rates of increase in the Affordable Care Act policies, and all health insurance are going up dramatically. There are things that we need to do structurally about the delivery of health care in America. Insurance is just the way you pay for health care. Healthcare costs are climbing dramatically, and I would think that Republicans who are in charge of the White House, the United States House of Representatives, and the United States Senate would be focused on that. How do we look at healthcare and the delivery of it? How do we bring down costs? How do we employ technology? Those are all basically the causes of rates of increase in insurance, from commercial insurance, Medicare, Affordable Care Act, Medicaid. It's all connected to the cost and the delivery of health care itself.
Okay, Congressman, we thank you. And America, if you knew that a garbage plate was a delicious treasure and not trash, you would know him already. But if you don't, there he is, Congressman Joe Morelle. We thank you.